Well, the UK authorities have decided that Flybe, no matter how the size of this airline is not going to allow that to fail. So the authorities have stepped in with yet to be disclosed. Oh, well, I'm going to ask Juliana Layenka to disclose to us if she has an idea how much number 10 Downing Street or the Parliament is putting behind Flybe and what the discussion is around the aviation industry for this UK airline. Then we'll talk about the market. It's a very big day, January the 15th. Juliana, good morning. Welcome to the show. You're ostensibly out of the studios. Where are you at the moment within the city? Trying to track you down.
Good morning, both, and good morning, everyone. I'm at the Wall Street Journal's London HQ. The president of the World Economic Forum is delivering his annual global risk report, which has been very interesting, quite worrying, actually. So a bunch of the business media are here, and that's where I am today.
Yes, great. That's ahead of the World Economic Forum event in Davos, 21st to 24th. Thank you very much for keeping an eye on some of the big events coming through this month. I'm sure in the next couple of days will be the UK Africa Investment Summit, and you have that under wraps as well to bring us up to that. Thank you so much for keeping the gates over there. But let's talk about Flybe. Why is the government, the UK authorities, saving this airline, and how much, if you have any idea, what the cost will be?
Well, the details are still kept under wraps, Bosun, but I think the decision to bail out Flybe is seen as one of the most crucial early decisions that Prime Minister Boris Johnson will be making, and his commitment to the provinces, because, of course, they turned out in their droves to support him in that landslide general election and Flybe, being the biggest regional airline in Europe, will keep those provinces connected to the city. They have about 8 million passengers a year, and without the airline, it would be almost impossible for them to keep their businesses thriving and being able to connect them to Heathrow and Gatwick. What we do know is that it was led by Andrea Leadsom. She's the business secretary, Sajid Javid, and also the transport secretary, Grant Chance, is also involved, and they have basically cleared them from paying their tax levy to the tune of £106 million. This has not been completely wiped off. They will have a repayment plan which takes place over the next couple of months, and they also want shareholders to put in their little bit. But it's definitely seen as a success story, and also, again, Boris Johnson's commitment to keep the regionals within the establishment, within the city, and still thriving.
But is everyone within the industry, aviation industry, happy about this arrangement? I'm sure the shareholders will be happy. This is taking some heat off their shoulders, and they can think of how to recapitalize the company moving forward. At least the big brother, the government, is stepping in at the moment. Is everyone happy about it? What talks about time do you have on this? Do you have any comments from others?
Well, absolutely. You know, the trade unions are happy. We've heard from the British Airlines Pilot Association. They think this is a good move for the aviation industry. Of course, Flybe have over 2,500 jobs, so they're definitely delighted this morning. But, of course, you know, airline bosses are furious. They think that this is a complete waste of money. I think the biggest commentator at the moment has been Willie Walsh. He is the chief executive officer of the umbrella company that owns British Airways. He says that, you know, the British government shouldn't be doing this, that Flybe bosses should be held accountable because of the regional access that it gives to the main airports in the city. Flybe already have some government assistance, and he says that British Airways have been saying that they can take on that regional transit route without the support of the government, and they've been failed from doing so many times. Also, as well, the owners, the umbrella company of Flybe, are part of Delta Airlines. They're that big airline group in the US, and they're obviously extremely profitable. So they think it's a bad move. Also, as well, the fact that they potentially could be removing airport duty on Flybe's routes. A lot of environmentalists are saying that this is the wrong route to go, that with Boris Johnson and the government's emissions commitments, trying to remove the tax levy on airport duty is not good. So, yes, it's a mixed bag. Of course, if you're a Flybe passenger or a staff member, you are delighted, but competitive airline bosses are furious with the government this morning.
Okay, great one. I'm sure you'll have a lot on your hands today. But again, just before you step away, today is a big day. The U.S. and the Chinese folks are putting pen to paper. A great day for President Trump to put pen to paper, make as much as political gains as he can on the political front, the campaign trail, as it were, talking to his supporters about this great deal. Checking quickly with the currencies market and equities if you have any idea where you are about this day and if the market has already priced in this development and are just moving on and say, well, thank you, Mr. President, at least for making this happen.
Absolutely. Once the world's two biggest economies come together, whatever happens, whatever sound bites come out of that will have great effect in the entire world. The FTSE 100 opened up about 8 percentage points this morning. The British pound, before I checked, it was up about 0.09% against the dollar. Everybody is watching and waiting. However, there were some sound bites that came out of Washington overnight that have made people a little bit nervous. One of them being is that Donald Trump expects the Chinese to start buying these US farm goods almost immediately after they've done this signing, whereas removing the tax levies that he's put on these Chinese exports won't take place until after November's US presidential election. So some are seeing this as a double standard. How are the Chinese going to react to that? But most importantly, domestically, we've got inflation figures coming out of the UK later today. The last quarter it was at 1.5%. Is it going to change? We're not sure. But of course, the Bank of England Monetary Policy Committee will be meeting at the end of this month. We already know that two of the members are in favour of cutting interest rates. So whatever comes out at intraday is definitely likely to affect the sterling.
Interesting. Thank you, Juliana. Get busy at the Wall Street Journal HQ where you are with the business reporting of the day. Thank you so much. And hope you guys some time later in the afternoon to chat to Chimezie Obiwagu on Business Incorporated 1:30 Nigerian time. So as the Nigerian Stock Exchange right now, we lost 1.2%. Yesterday, profit booking, MTN, Dangote Cement, the big boys, starting today's trading day. Boa Cement is losing about 9%. FBN Holdings announcing a close period starting today until 24 hours after the filing of its 2019 full-year numbers with the Nigerian Stock Exchange and says that will remain in place. The share price of FBN Holdings as we speak, down less than 1%, about 3/4 of a percent, 6.95 Naira. Boa Cement is down 9.8%, trading slightly below 39 Naira per share. And what else do we have? Okay, we got a notice from the folks at Champion Breweries announcing that they have a new managing director and says the previous chief executive officer has left, having spent many years there, so they have a new man, a new helmsman, who's a Georgios Polymenakos. He's coming in from Nigerian Bottling Company. So from a bottling company to a brewing company. Champion Breweries is one of the tier 2, if you want to put it, a small cap listed brewer on the market. The big boys were IBL, MBL, and of course, Guinness Nigeria. Champion Breweries is one of the small cap companies, but again, one of the companies that made some gains on the marketplace. Where are we as far as the fixed income is concerned? I want just everyone to see what happens 24 hours after the central bank conducted the open market operations, 174 billion Naira subscription stop rate for 90-day treasuries at 3.5%. Yesterday at the secondary window of the FMDQ, 69.54 billion Naira. On Tuesday, on the auction day, that was much bigger. Sorry, on Monday, I beg your pardon. That was much bigger, 200 billion. But that came down yesterday after the auction was over. In terms of the discount highs, between 11 and 12%. But NTB gives you a different picture from a total zero trading on the secondary window on Monday. We had 1.51 billion for just 4 transactions yesterday. You can see April 2nd, 2020, treasury bills for NTB at 3.75%. Let's leave it there for today, shall we? Tomorrow is Thursday. I will have some other big stories to bring your way here on Business Morning on Channels Television, Nigeria's news leader. I'll see you then, everyone. Have a great day, and bye for now.